The great trade hub of Vera Station was always full of noise. Ships came and went every hour. Traders shouted about their goods, machines hummed in the background, and travelers from 100 different worlds walked through the wide halls. For a human traveler named Ryan, it was both exciting and tiring. He had arrived 2 days earlier with a small cargo of metals from a nearby colony. Ryan liked to watch the people more than he liked to trade. Every corner of the station showed a different kind of life. Tall, green-skinned merchants bargained with short, insect-like traders. Families of fur-covered beings carried baskets of food that smelled strange but sweet. Robots rolled on tracks, carrying tools and boxes. Among all of this, Ryan felt small, but he also felt curious. On the third day, Ryan went to the food hall. It was a wide place with glowing lights, filled with tables and chairs. Each stall served food from a different world. Ryan often bought simple bread and soup. He liked to eat quietly in a corner. That day, however, something unusual caught his eye. Near the far side of the hall sat an old alien, bent and thin. His skin was grayish-blue, and his clothes were torn at the edges. His long fingers trembled as he held a small cup. Ryan noticed that the old alien did not eat, but only looked down, as if waiting for something. Around him, many other beings avoided his table. 2 guards in dark armor stood near the counter. They were tall, reptilian aliens, known for their strictness. One of them held a scanner and spoke in a sharp voice to the food seller. Ryan could not hear everything, but he understood enough. The old alien had ordered food but had no money to pay. The guards had been called to deal with him. The hall grew quieter. Some traders looked over with curiosity. Others shook their heads as if they had seen this before. Ryan watched as the guards walked toward the old alien. Their heavy boots made loud sounds against the floor. The old alien looked up slowly. His eyes were pale and tired, yet there was something deep in them, like endless distance. He said something in a soft voice, but the guards did not care. They grabbed his arm and tried to lift him from his chair. For a moment, Ryan felt anger rise inside him. He did not know why. He had never seen this alien before. He had no reason to care. Yet the sight of the old being, weak and helpless, being treated like trash, touched something inside Ryan. Perhaps it was because he remembered his own grandfather, back on Earth, who had grown weak in his last years. Perhaps it was because humans valued respect for elders, no matter their species. The guards raised their voices. The old alien tried to explain, but his words were lost under their shouting. Ryan stood up. His heart beat faster as he walked across the hall. Dozens of eyes followed him. "Wait," Ryan said firmly. His voice was calm, but clear enough for everyone to hear. The guards turned toward him, surprised. One of them hissed, "Human, this is no concern of yours. Step aside." Ryan looked at the counter. He saw the price of the meal glowing on the screen. It was not very high. Without a second thought, he reached into his jacket and pulled out his credit card. He placed it on the counter. "I will pay for him," Ryan said. A silence fell over the hall. Even the food machines seemed to pause. The guards looked at each other. One of them growled, "Why would you waste your credits on him? He is worthless." Ryan met their cold eyes without fear. "Because he is hungry. That is enough." The food seller quickly accepted the payment. The machine beeped, and the meal was confirmed. The guards had no reason to act further. With a hiss of annoyance, they released the old alien and stepped back. They muttered to each other and left the hall, their tails swinging angrily. The old alien sat still for a moment, breathing slowly. His hands trembled as he reached for the plate of food now set before him. Ryan sat down across from him. The alien's lips moved, forming words in a language Ryan barely understood, but the meaning was clear. It was thanks. Ryan nodded. "Eat. You need it." The old alien ate slowly, carefully, as if he had not tasted real food in many days. His eyes lifted from time to time, watching Ryan with a strange mixture of caution and gratitude. Other traders whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads, thinking the human was foolish. Others looked curious, perhaps even respectful. Ryan did not care about their opinions. He only cared about the quiet dignity that returned to the old alien's face with each bite. When the meal was finished, the old alien leaned back. His voice was weak, but now clearer than before. "Human," he said, "you have done more than feed me. You have given me honor again." Ryan tilted his head, unsure what to reply. He simply said, "No one should lose their honor for being hungry." The old alien smiled faintly. In his tired eyes, Ryan saw a spark of life return. It was as if this simple act had awakened something long buried. The food hall slowly returned to its normal noise. Traders bargained again. Children of different species ran between tables, and the smell of strange spices filled the air. Yet Ryan knew something important had happened. It was not just about food. It was about respect, about standing up when others turned away. The old alien folded his hands and whispered, "I will not forget this, human. I owe you more than a meal." Ryan gave a small smile. He had no idea what those words meant or where they would lead. But deep inside, he felt that this was only the beginning of a much larger story. The food hall slowly grew noisy again, but Ryan noticed that people still glanced at him and the old alien. Some traders whispered, others shook their heads, and a few smiled faintly as if they had seen something unusual. For most, the moment was already forgotten, but for Ryan and the old alien, it was not so simple. The old alien sat quietly with his hands folded. His thin frame shook slightly, as if his body carried many years of weariness. After a long silence, he spoke again, this time in a careful tone so that Ryan could understand. "My name is Taylor," he said slowly. "Long ago I had a place among my people. Now I am only a shadow." Ryan leaned forward. "Taylor," he repeated, making sure he said the name correctly. "I am Ryan. Do you live here on this station?" Taylor shook his head. His pale eyes lowered to the empty plate. "No home. I came with a ship many years ago. I stayed thinking I would return, but the years carried me away. My crew forgot me. My people forgot me. Now the guards see only an old burden." The words carried a deep sadness, but Ryan also felt quiet strength hidden within them. Taylor was not begging. He was simply telling the truth. Ryan thought of how the guards had spoken, how quickly they had wanted to throw him out. He felt his jaw tighten. "You are not a burden," Ryan said firmly. "Everyone deserves respect. You are still alive, still here. That means something." For a moment, Taylor only looked at him, studying his face as if trying to measure his sincerity. Then he gave a slow nod. "Humans," he said softly. "I have met few, but they carry strange fire inside. You act before weighing gain or loss. I see that fire in you." Ryan gave a small smile. "Sometimes that fire burns me into trouble," he admitted. "But I would rather help than stand silent." Taylor's lips curved into the faintest smile. He reached into his old robe and pulled out a small object. It was a piece of metal shaped like a star, scratched and dull but still holding a hint of beauty. He placed it on the table between them. "This was mine," Taylor said. "It marked me once as a navigator. With it, I guided ships through dark space. Now, it is useless. But still, it is all I have. Take it, as thanks." Ryan shook his head quickly. "No, Taylor, keep it. I do not need payment." But Taylor pressed it into his hand. His long fingers were cold but steady. "It is not payment, it is a promise. You gave me dignity today. I will return it when the time comes." Ryan looked down at the metal star in his palm. It felt heavier than it looked. Something told him that this object carried more than just memory. Before he could speak again, the sound of footsteps echoed. The two guards had returned. Their reptilian eyes narrowed when they saw Ryan still sitting with Taylor. One of them hissed in annoyance. "You again," the guard muttered. "Why waste time with this one? He is worthless." The hall grew quieter once more. Many eyes turned to watch. Ryan rose slowly to his feet, holding the small metal star firmly in his hand. His voice was steady. "He is not worthless. You judged him without knowing who he is. He has more history than either of you can imagine." The guards growled. One stepped closer, towering over Ryan, but the human did not move back. His calm gaze met the cold eyes of the alien soldier. For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then the guard turned away with a dismissive hiss. "Foolish human! Waste your credits, waste your time. When he falls again, do not expect us to carry him." With that, the guards walked off, their tails flicking behind them. The hall's noise slowly returned. Taylor looked at Ryan with something new in his pale eyes. Not just gratitude, but trust. "You speak with strength," he said. "Not many would stand against guards for an old wanderer." Ryan sat down again, trying to calm his heartbeat. "I did what was right," he said simply. For the first time, Taylor laughed softly. It was a quiet laugh, but it carried warmth that seemed to come from far away. "Yes," he said. "What is right? That is a rare path in this place." Ryan felt curious now. "You said you were a navigator. What does that mean exactly?" Taylor leaned back, his eyes half closing as if remembering distant stars. "I traveled far with my people. I drew maps of hidden paths between systems. I saw stars that few have ever seen. But time is cruel. When my hands grew weak and my eyes dim, they left me behind. They said new machines could do my work better." There was no anger in his voice, only quiet sorrow. Ryan felt the weight of those words. A life once filled with importance, now reduced to being cast aside. "You still have your knowledge," Ryan said carefully. "That has value." Taylor opened his eyes again. "Perhaps, but no one listens to an old voice. Except you." The words struck something deep inside Ryan. He realized that his simple act of paying for a meal had become much more. He had not only fed Taylor's body, but had also given him a reason to speak again, to share again. The crowd in the hall began to thin as travelers returned to their ships. Ryan stood. "Come," he said. "You should rest. Sitting here alone will only bring more trouble." Taylor hesitated, then slowly rose. His body shook, but Ryan supported him gently. Together they walked out of the food hall into the wide corridors of the station. Many beings watched them go, whispering among themselves. Some mocked, others respected, but Ryan paid them no mind. As they walked, Taylor spoke in a quiet voice. "You think this was only kindness, but it may become something larger. You will see, human. Small acts often lead to great journeys." Ryan looked at him with curiosity. He did not know what Taylor meant, but he could feel that the words carried truth. Somewhere, deep in his heart, he knew this meeting was not an accident. The metal star in his hand glimmered faintly under the lights of the station. Ryan closed his fingers around it. He did not understand why, but he felt that this small object would one day matter more than he could imagine. For now, though, he only guided Taylor toward a place to rest. A small act of kindness had begun, and the path ahead was unknown. The corridors of Vera Station stretched wide and bright, filled with streams of travelers. Ryan walked slowly, keeping one hand lightly on Taylor's arm. The old alien moved carefully, as if each step cost him effort. Yet there was also dignity in the way he carried himself. They passed vendors selling glowing fruits, crystals from far planets, and tiny machines that could repair broken tools in seconds. The noise of the crowd surrounded them, but Ryan's mind stayed on the old alien's words. A navigator. Hidden paths between stars. A promise. At last, they reached a quieter section of the station. Ryan rented a small cabin often used by traders, who needed rest before the next journey. It was simple, with a bed, a chair, and a small table. Taylor looked around the room and lowered himself carefully onto the bed. "Sit," Taylor said, pointing at the chair. Ryan obeyed, curious. For a long moment, the old alien stayed silent, his pale eyes fixed on the ceiling. Then, in a slow voice, he began to speak. "You should know why the guards hated me. It is not only because I am old. It is also because I carry memories that many would rather erase." Ryan leaned forward. "Memories," Taylor nodded. "Long ago, before you were born, I served aboard a vessel called the Serathal. My people were explorers. We searched the dark between stars, searching for shorter routes, safer passages, ways to cross the galaxy without losing ships to storms or raiders." His voice grew stronger as he spoke, as if telling the story gave him life again. "I was chosen as navigator because I could read the stars differently. Machines can plot paths, yes, but they cannot feel the rhythms of space. I could. I knew when a corridor between stars was shifting. I knew when a storm of radiation was hiding behind calm skies. My crew trusted me. With me, they reached places, faster than any other fleet." Ryan listened closely, picturing the old alien standing tall and proud on a ship's bridge, guiding others through the unknown. "What happened?" Ryan asked softly. Taylor's eyes dimmed. "We grew bold. Too bold. My leaders wanted not only to explore, but to control. We discovered hidden lanes that cut through dangerous regions. They wanted to keep them secret, to charge others for using them. At first, I obeyed. I thought it was survival. But then I saw how greed poisoned them. They began abandoning weaker colonies, leaving traders to be destroyed by pirates, while we alone used the safe routes." Ryan frowned. "So you disagreed with them?" "Yes," Taylor said, his voice heavy. "I spoke against them. I said knowledge of the stars should be shared. I said no path should belong to one people alone. They called me a traitor to our prophet. They stripped me of rank, cast me aside, and told the stations to deny me respect. To the guards and merchants, I became nothing more than a beggar." Silence filled the cabin. Ryan felt anger stir within him. The old alien had been punished not for weakness, but for standing for fairness. "That is not right," Ryan said. "You gave them safety and they left you with nothing." Taylor gave a faint smile. "It is the way of many, but not the way of all. Today you showed me that." He leaned forward, his long fingers opening slowly. "Listen, human. The maps I carry in my mind are still true. There are corridors no machine knows. They can save lives, shorten journeys, and avoid dangers. This is my hidden history. I have kept it silent because none would listen. But now I feel it may be time to share again." Ryan's eyes widened. "You mean you can guide me through them?" "Yes," Taylor said firmly. "If you wish. It is dangerous, but also full of promise. Many would chase us if they knew. The guards already suspect I still hold secrets. That is why they hate me. They fear I will give my knowledge to someone who does not serve their power." Ryan sat back, his thoughts racing. A human traitor with secret routes across the galaxy. Such knowledge could make him rich, yes, but more than that, it could make him useful. He could help other colonies, protect weaker ships, bring safety where there was danger. But there was also risk. If the guards or Taylor's former people discovered the truth, they might hunt them. Ryan looked at the metal star that still rested in his pocket. He took it out and placed it on the table. It caught the light and glimmered faintly, as if remembering brighter times. "This is why you gave me this," Ryan said. Taylor nodded. "It is a mark of trust." My hidden history is now tied to you, but it is your choice whether to walk this path. I will not force it. I only wish to tell you the truth." Ryan held the star in his hand again, feeling its weight. He thought of his small ship sitting in the docking bay, waiting for its next journey. He thought of the endless black beyond the station, filled with both danger and opportunity. And he thought of Taylor, once a proud navigator, now an outcast, who still carried maps that could change everything. Finally, Ryan spoke. "I will take this path with you, not for riches, not for power, but because I believe your knowledge can help, and because no one should be silenced for doing what is right." Taylor's eyes shone faintly, almost glowing with life that had long been hidden. For the first time, his voice carried true strength. "Then, Ryan, you and I will see stars together, and perhaps through you, my maps will serve the galaxy again." Tao. Human and the alien sat in silence after that, both understanding that a choice had been made. Outside the cabin, the station continued its busy rhythm. Ships arrived and departed. Traders bargained. Guards patrolled. No one knew that inside. One small room, an old navigator had just passed his legacy to a human stranger. The hidden history was no longer hidden. It was alive again, ready to guide them into a future filled with danger, discovery, and perhaps hope. Ryan closed his hand around the star. Whatever lay ahead, he knew this was only the beginning of a journey that would test them both. And deep inside, he felt certain of one thing. Humanity had been given a chance to prove itself, not through force, but through trust. The next morning, the artificial lights of Vera Station glowed pale white through the small cabin window. Ryan had not slept much. His mind had been turning all night, filled with thoughts of secret paths, hidden stars, and the promise Taylor had given him. When Ryan rose, he found Taylor already awake, sitting upright on the bed. The old alien's eyes looked brighter than before, as though speaking of his past had given him new strength. "You did not rest," Taylor observed quietly. Ryan shook his head. "I kept thinking about what you said, about the hidden routes, about the danger." Taylor gave a slow nod. "Yes, danger will follow, as it always does when knowledge is greater than greed allows. Still, it is a path worth taking, if you are willing." Ryan sat down across from him, leaning forward. "If we use these routes, what will happen? Do you expect your people to come after us?" "Not only my people," Taylor said, his voice steady. "Others will seek to control the knowledge. The guards who despise me now will become hunters once they see my value. There are merchants who would pay anything to keep the routes secret, and pirates who would kill to take them. But if we are clever, if we move with care, we can stay ahead. The choice is yours." Ryan looked down at the metal star in his hand. He turned it slowly between his fingers. The small object seemed to carry weight beyond its size, as if it represented not only Taylor's trust, but also the burden of decision. "I am only a small trader," Ryan admitted. "My ship is not strong. My cargo is simple. I never thought about fighting for anything larger. But now, it feels like if I walk away, I would be turning my back on something important." Taylor's tired face softened. "That is why I chose you. Not because of strength, but because of heart. Machines can guide ships, soldiers can fight battles, but few can see worth in a stranger and act without asking what they will gain. That is what the galaxy needs." The words settled deep inside Ryan. He felt both nervous and strangely proud. "Then tell me," he said at last, "what do we need to do?" Taylor leaned forward, his long fingers pressing against the table. "First, we must leave this station. Too many eyes are here. Too many ears may have heard. We go to your ship. Then I will give you coordinates. A test path, a short one, but enough to prove I speak truth. If you see with your own eyes, then you will know. Ryan nodded slowly. And if we succeed? Then, Taylor said, his voice calm but firm, we decide how to use what we know. We can keep the roots hidden, safe for only us, or we can share them, but carefully, with those who need them most. That will be your choice, for it is you who gave me reason to speak again. The offer was clear now. It was not just about maps or shortcuts. It was about trust, risk, and the chance to change the balance of power in the galaxy. Ryan felt the weight of it pressing against his chest. They left the cabin together. Taylor walked more steadily than before, though Ryan kept a watchful hand near him. The station corridors were busy as ever, but Ryan noticed how some traders' eyes followed them. Whispers rose and fell behind their steps. Word of the human who defended an old alien had already spread. When they reached the docking bay, Ryan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. His ship, the Solace, was small and plain compared to the grand vessels that filled the hangar, yet it was his, and it had carried him safely across many systems. Taylor paused before the ship, studying it carefully. Not large, not powerful, he murmured, but steady. Sometimes small vessels find paths that great warships cannot. This will do. They boarded. Inside, the Solace was simple. A narrow corridor, a small cockpit, 2 cabins, and a storage hold. Ryan moved to the pilot's chair, powering up the systems. The engines hummed, familiar and comforting. Taylor stood behind him, resting a hand on the back of the chair. Set course away from the station. I will guide you when the time is right. The ship lifted smoothly from the dock. As they cleared the hangar and entered open space, Ryan looked at the endless black ahead. Stars scattered across the void like sparks from a fire. Now, Taylor said, his voice quiet but sure. I will give you coordinates, but you must trust me fully. The path will not appear on your screens. You must follow the course exactly, even when the machines tell you it is unsafe. Ryan hesitated. His training told him never to ignore the ship's systems. Yet he remembered Taylor's words, remembered the fire in his pale eyes when he spoke of the stars. Slowly, Ryan nodded. I trust you. Taylor gave the numbers. Ryan entered them, and the ship adjusted course. The machine flashed warnings. Unstable path, gravitational storms, risk of collision. Ryan's hands tightened on the controls, but he did not turn back. Minutes passed. The ship shook gently, then harder as currents of invisible energy pressed against it. Ryan gritted his teeth, guiding the vessel through the storm. Taylor's voice remained steady, calling out small corrections. A degree to the left. Now. Hold. Wait. Now. Angle upward. The stars outside seemed to bend, stretching into strange lines. Then suddenly the turbulence ended. The ship slid into calm, and before them opened a corridor of space that glowed faintly with blue light. It was beautiful and silent, hidden behind the storm they had just passed. Ryan stared in awe. By the stars. Taylor's lips curved into a proud smile. This is the first, a hidden lane. It will carry you across 10 systems in the time. Most ships take to cross 2. Few know of it. Fewer still can find it. Ryan felt his chest fill with wonder. He had doubted, but now he saw with his own eyes. The old alien was no beggar, no burden. He was a keeper of secrets that could change lives. He turned to Taylor. You were right. This is real. And if this is only the first, then the galaxy is. Wider than I ever imagined, Taylor's eyes shone. Yes, and now it is in your hands. I have given you the path. What you do with it will shape more than just your future. It may shape the future of many. As the Solace glided through the hidden lane, Ryan understood the weight of the dangerous offer he had accepted. He was no longer just a trader. He was now a guardian of knowledge that others would kill to possess. And yet, He felt no regret. The Solace drifted quietly through the hidden lane. The blue glow around the ship cast soft light across the cockpit, making the stars look like rivers of fire in the distance. Ryan sat at the controls, his eyes wide with wonder. He had traveled many systems, but never had he seen space like this. "This is beautiful," Ryan whispered. Taylor stood beside him, one hand resting lightly on the seat. His pale eyes reflected the strange glow. "The galaxy hides treasures in the shadows. Few will ever see them. Now you have." The lane was calm, silent, and smooth. The ship moved faster than Ryan thought possible without using heavy fuel. His screens showed distance markers changing rapidly. What should have taken weeks of travel was happening in hours. "How long will this corridor last?" Ryan asked. "Until the stars shift," Taylor replied. "Sometimes for centuries, sometimes for only a few years. That is why machines fail. They cannot feel the rhythm of space. They record numbers but not the hidden song. I listened to that song all my life." Ryan nodded slowly. He understood now why Taylor had been valuable to his people, and he understood why they had feared him once he stood against them. For a time, they traveled in silence. Ryan felt his heartbeat slow as the wonder of the hidden lane filled him with calm. Yet beneath that calm, thoughts of danger stirred. If word spread that a human and an old alien were using such paths, others would come. Greedy merchants, pirates, even governments. "Taylor," Ryan said at last, "what if others discover what we are doing? What if they follow us?" The old alien gave a faint smile. "They will try. But the lanes are not easy to see. Even if they learn the coordinates, without skill they will lose ships. That is why I chose to share with you. Not because you have power, but because you have patience." Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. He hoped Taylor's trust was not misplaced. Hours passed, and the hidden lane brought them out into open space again. The sudden change of view almost made Ryan gasp. Before them stretched a cluster of stars, shining bright. And close, in the middle was a small colony world, green and blue like a jewel. "That is the end of the test path," Taylor said proudly. "You crossed in less than a day what would have taken 10 through common routes. You now see the truth." Ryan stared at the world. Small ships circled it, bringing goods and people. He thought of the families down there, living their lives, never knowing that hidden corridors could change their fates. "We could help so many," Ryan said quietly. "Colonies like this, left weak against pirates, could get supplies faster. Distant worlds would not feel so alone." Taylor looked at him carefully. "You speak like a guardian, not a traitor." Ryan gave a small smile. "Maybe both. A traitor who guards and a guardian who trades." Taylor chuckled softly, though his laugh carried age and sorrow. "Yes, that may be what is needed. But remember, not all will see you as savior. Some will see you as threat. Already there are eyes searching." Ryan frowned. "What do you mean?" Taylor pointed at the screens. Small signals flickered at the edge of detection. Ryan zoomed in. 2 ships appeared, moving slowly but directly toward their lane. "They followed," Ryan muttered. "Not by chance," Taylor said. "The guards or their allies must have marked us when we left the station. They cannot enter the lane easily, but they can wait for us at its mouth." Ryan's mind raced. His ship was fast but lightly armed. If the pursuers caught them, escape would not be simple. "Then what do we do?" Taylor's pale eyes narrowed, sharp with memory. "We use the stars as our shield. Follow my voice and we may yet escape." Ryan tightened his grip on the controls. "I trust you." The pursuer ships accelerated. Their signals grew stronger on the screen. Ryan swung the Solace wide, away from the colony world, heading toward the darker regions between stars. "Upward, then right," Taylor commanded. There is a drift current here invisible to your machines. It will pull you faster than their engines can manage. The Solace shuddered as it hit the current. For a moment, Ryan thought the ship would break apart, but then it steadied, sliding, forward like a leaf on a river. Behind them, the pursuers tried to follow but faltered. Their engines roared brightly, burning more fuel, while the Solace glided smoothly with little effort. "They are losing distance," Ryan said, hope rising. In his chest, "Not enough," Taylor warned. "They will not stop until they taste capture. We must vanish, not only outrun." He leaned closer, whispering as if speaking to the stars themselves. "There is a shadow pocket ahead, empty to your screens but real. Take us there." Ryan adjusted course. The Solace slid into a region of darkness where stars disappeared, as if swallowed by ink. For a heartbeat, fear gripped him. His instruments blinked uncertain readings. The ship seemed lost in nothingness. But Taylor's voice was calm. "This place is hidden by the gravity of two stars pulling against each other. We are unseen. They will search, but they will not find." Minutes turned to hours. The signals of the pursuers faded, then vanished. Ryan let out a long breath he had been holding. "We did it," he whispered. Taylor nodded slowly. His tired face showed pride. "You did it, Ryan. You trusted the path. That is what makes a true navigator." Ryan leaned back in his chair, exhaustion washing over him. Yet even as his body ached, his spirit felt alive. He had not only traveled a hidden lane but also escaped hunters with Taylor's guidance. "This was only the first journey," Taylor said softly. "There will be others, harder ones. But now you know the truth. You and I together can walk paths that others cannot even dream of." Ryan looked at the old alien, seeing not weakness but strength. The galaxy had tried to cast Taylor aside, but here he was, proving his worth once more. And Ryan felt honored to stand at his side. The Solace floated in the quiet, dark pocket, hidden and safe for the moment. Beyond lay stars waiting to be discovered, dangers waiting to be faced, and choices waiting to be made. The first journey was complete. The greater journey was only beginning. The Solace drifted through the empty stretch of space beyond the hidden lane. Ryan sat at the controls, his hands steady but alert. He had survived the first test path, and the rush of victory still tingled through him. Yet, Taylor's warning lingered in his mind. Others would follow, and not all were easy to escape. "Ryan," Taylor said quietly, "we have been seen. Do not think our troubles are over. They will not stop searching for the knowledge I carry." Ryan adjusted the ship's sensors, scanning for movement. Faint traces of energy appeared far behind them, not strong enough to indicate a fleet, but definite signs that someone was following. "I see them," he said. "Small scout ships, maybe more waiting." Taylor nodded. "The guards you faced at the station have allies. They are not kind. They will risk everything to capture the information you now carry. And there are others. Pirates, greedy traders, even ambitious leaders who want the maps for themselves." Ryan clenched his jaw. He had thought the hardest part was trusting Taylor and navigating the hidden lanes. Now the true test had begun. Protecting the knowledge would be harder than discovering it. Taylor leaned closer, pointing at the radar. "We must use the stars to hide, not to flee. They will follow if we show weakness. But if we guide them into empty corridors and vanish, they will waste resources and grow frustrated." Ryan followed his instructions, steering the Solace toward a cluster of dark asteroids. The sensors flickered as the ship entered a shadowed zone where light barely reached. Invisible currents tugged gently at the ship, pulling them along without power. "They will think this is an ordinary path," Taylor explained, "but only we know how to read the invisible streams of gravity that form these lanes. Trust me, human." Ryan held the controls steady. His mind raced with every lesson Taylor had taught so far. Small adjustments, careful timing, gentle turns through the invisible streams. It was like reading the rhythm of a song. One wrong move, and they could be stranded or, worse, discovered. Minutes passed. The faint energy traces of the pursuers flickered on the radar, then disappeared as the asteroids blocked sensors. Ryan exhaled slowly. "They are losing track," he said. "Not enough," Taylor warned. "They will regroup and try again. We must move fast to the next corridor, deeper into the hidden paths. There is one that crosses 3 systems and ends. Far from any station. It is dangerous, but it will keep us safe for the moment." Ryan nodded. "Take me there." The journey through the asteroid corridor was tense. Ryan guided the ship with precise movements, Tyler giving instructions for every minor adjustment. The rocks were large, some stretching for kilometers. Colliding with one would destroy the ship instantly. "This is why machines cannot replace a navigator," Taylor said. "They measure speed and distance, but they cannot feel the pull of gravity. They cannot sense where space bends quietly, where the currents will carry you." Ryan felt the pull of the currents beneath him. Tiny changes. Indirection made the Solace slip along hidden lanes, almost like sliding on water. His pulse raced, but he began to understand Taylor's guidance. Space was alive, and they were moving with it, not against it. Hours passed. Outside, the stars began to thicken again. The asteroid cluster ended, revealing a quiet section of space. No stations, no travelers, only the faint hum of distant stars. Taylor leaned back, satisfied. This is the pocket, hidden from sight. They will search the previous lane for days, thinking we are still there. Here, we rest, plan, and decide our next move. Ryan lowered the ship's speed, letting it drift through the calm zone. His hands were sore from holding the controls, but his mind was sharp. "They will not give up," he said quietly. "The guards, the pirates, anyone who wants your knowledge, they will come." Taylor nodded. "Yes, but we are ready. You have learned quickly, human. You followed without hesitation. That is what makes a navigator strong. Not only skill, but courage, patience, and trust." Ryan glanced at the old alien, seeing strength where others might see weakness. "And if they catch us, they will not," Taylor said with calm certainty. "We move where they cannot, think where they cannot. But if they somehow do find us, you will make choices. Choices guided by what is right, not by fear." Ryan felt the weight of responsibility settle on him. The first journey had proven the lanes existed. The second, more dangerous path had tested their skill and courage. The shadow of the guards now loomed, but he understood that fear could not rule him. "Taylor," Ryan asked, "how many corridors? Do you know?" "Too many to count," Taylor replied. "Some I have never used, some I have never shared. They twist through space, hidden from eyes that seek power. If used wisely, they can carry goods, people, hope. If used wrongly, they can hide danger or greed. That is why I waited for someone who could respect them, someone who could act wisely." Ryan felt pride mixed with determination. "I will not let them use these paths for harm," he said. Taylor's pale eyes glimmered with approval. "Good, then you are ready to learn more. But first, rest. Your hands and mind need strength for the journeys ahead. The shadow of the guards is far but not gone. We must be ready." Ryan nodded and leaned back, letting the gentle pull of the corridor ease his tired muscles. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. They felt close now, as if the hidden lane had brought them closer to the heart of the galaxy itself. Time passed in quiet reflection. Taylor spoke little, but Ryan watched him carefully. The old alien's presence carried both wisdom and patience. He understood space not as empty darkness, but as a living force. and Ryan felt grateful that such knowledge was now in human hands. Eventually, Ryan closed his eyes for a short rest. Even in the drifting calm of the corridor, he could sense the vastness of the galaxy. Danger would come again, but he was learning to meet it with trust, skill, and courage. The shadow of the guards was far, but they had left their mark. And Ryan knew that every decision, every turn would be tested. Yet he also knew that kindness, trust, and patience had brought them this far. With Taylor at his side, he felt ready to face whatever came next. The hidden corridor carried them forward silently, a secret thread through the stars, and the first real challenge of pursuit had been met. The hidden corridor carried the solace far from the eyes of pursuers. Stars passed like sparks against the black canvas of space, and Ryan felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. For the first time, he understood the magnitude of what Taylor had entrusted to him. The old alien had shared not just knowledge, but the future of countless travelers who would benefit from safe passage through dangerous space. Taylor stood behind him in the cockpit, his pale eyes reflecting the soft glow of distant stars. "You did well, human. You followed without hesitation. You trusted not only me, but the path itself. That is what will make this legacy endure." Ryan leaned back, hands still on the controls, but less tense now. "I never imagined a hidden corridor could be so alive. The stars feel like they are moving with us, guiding us." Taylor smiled faintly. "Yes, space is more than emptiness. It is alive with currents, streams, and rhythms. Those who cannot feel it will be lost, no matter the strength of their engines or weapons." Ryan nodded slowly. He felt proud, but also humble. The galaxy was vast, and their journey had only just begun. Yet he sensed that something greater awaited, something that could change not only their fate, but the fate of many. "We should rest soon," Taylor said. "Even the strongest mind and hand grow weary. The corridor will hold us, and there is safety in stillness." Ryan agreed. He powered down some systems and allowed the Solace to drift, floating silently through the hidden lane. The quiet of the corridor was different from any space he had known. It was not empty. It was peaceful, protective, and waiting. As they rested, Taylor spoke softly, as if sharing a memory. "I once guided fleets of explorers across systems no human or alien had seen. They trusted me to keep them safe. And now, you will carry that. Trust forward. You have a choice. Guard the lanes or share them with those who need them." Ryan considered the weight of those words. The first journey had proven the lanes were real. The second had shown the danger. Now, he held the responsibility to use what he had learned wisely. He looked at Taylor. "I want to help," he said finally. "Not for profit, not for fame, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The hidden lanes can save lives." Taylor's eyes shone with approval. "Good. That is why I chose you. I waited for one who would honor the truth and use it for good. You understand now that knowledge carries responsibility. You have the courage to bear it." Ryan felt a quiet determination settle in his chest. He would not fail Taylor, and he would not let greed or fear guide the corridors. This was a new legacy. A human and an alien, working together, carrying the hidden knowledge of the stars. They drifted for hours in the calm of the corridor. Outside, distant nebulae glowed faintly, casting colors across the black void. The Solace felt lighter, almost, like it was floating in a dream. Then Taylor spoke again, his voice serious. "Ryan, there is more to understand. The galaxy is not only danger and beauty. There are those who will seek to control, to hoard what should be shared. The hidden lanes are powerful, but they can be misused. You must always remember the choice you make will ripple farther than you can see. Ryan nodded. He had felt the shadow of the guards already, and he knew that more challenges would come. I understand. I will be careful. And I will always follow what is right. Taylor smiled faintly, the tiredness of years showing in his face, but also the pride of a teacher seeing a student succeed. Then the legacy begins. You will carry it forward, human. And through your actions, the galaxy will see that even small hands and young hearts can shape the stars. As night passed on the Solace, Ryan and Taylor worked together, studying the AI maps in Taylor's memory. The old alien guided Ryan through lanes that curved and twisted in invisible patterns, each one a thread in the vast tapestry of the galaxy. The human absorbed every detail, learning not only the paths, but the rhythm of space, the subtle hints of hidden currents, and the signs that revealed danger. By the time they emerged from the hidden lanes, the sun of a distant system glowed. Ahead, warming their sensors. A small colony planet awaited below, far from any major trade routes. Supplies were needed, and travelers would benefit from the safe corridors they had used. Ryan adjusted course, preparing to guide the first convoy through the path under Taylor's careful watch. He felt a surge of purpose. This was what he had chosen. Not fame, not riches, but a chance to protect and guide others. Taylor watched silently, his pale face soft with pride. You have learned quickly. Soon you will no longer need me to guide you. Your hand, your heart, and your mind are enough. You are ready to carry the hidden knowledge alone. Ryan looked forward, the colony planet growing larger on the screens. He felt both excitement and responsibility. I will honor your trust, he said, and I will use the lanes wisely. The hidden paths will serve life, not greed. Taylor placed a hand gently on Ryan's shoulder. That is all I ask. That is the legacy. And one day, when others hear the story, they will know that a human and an alien walked the hidden corridors together, not for power, but for good. The Solace descended toward the planet, and Ryan guided the first supply convoy through the hidden lanes. Ships moved smoothly, avoiding hazards that would have delayed or destroyed ordinary travelers. People on the planet received the supplies faster than they expected. Traders and settlers smiled, unaware of the hidden guidance that had brought them safety. Ryan felt a quiet joy. The corridor had proven itself not only as a path through space, but as a way to bring hope and aid. Taylor's eyes glimmered with approval, the old navigator seeing his knowledge live on in capable hands. As the convoy settled safely on the planet, Ryan stood at the cockpit window, looking at the stars beyond. The galaxy was vast, full of mystery, danger, and opportunity. He understood now that the hidden lanes were not just maps or paths, but a bridge between kindness, trust, and courage. Taylor spoke softly behind him. This is only the beginning, Ryan. The legacy will grow. You will face challenges, shadows, and choices, but you will guide well. Humanity has a place among the stars, and through your actions it will shine. Ryan smiled. I understand, Taylor, and I am ready. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of unseen paths and untold possibilities. The hidden corridors glowed faintly, carrying the promise of safety, discovery, and hope. The Solace floated forward, carrying a new legacy. A human and an old alien, walking together among the stars, protecting knowledge and guiding others toward a brighter future. In the quiet of space, Ryan felt a sense of purpose stronger than anything he had ever known. The journey had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.